Good morning and welcome back to Tabletop Tuesday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we are going to review Ticket to Ride Germany. Now, this is a standalone set of Ticket to Ride. It comes with all of the components that you do need to play. And today I just want to talk about the differences between Ticket to Ride and Ticket to Ride Germany, and then give you my review of what I actually think of the game itself. But before we do that, do make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I'm trying to put out a few different videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop content, from board games, miniatures, role-playing, and honestly anything in between. And also, if you enjoyed the video, do give it a like and maybe share it to somebody who's been thinking about getting this version of Ticket to Ride. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at this game. All right, now, one thing to keep in mind is this is technically the second Ticket to Ride Germany that they made. The first one was Ticket to Ride Märklin, which I will be honest, I struggled with. They added a mechanic for passengers that, once I explain how they do it in Ticket to Ride Germany, suffice it to say they made it way more complicated than it needed to be. You had to get train cards for passengers and move your passengers around, collecting little cardboard tokens that made the setup even more complicated. Honestly, I didn't care for it. So we would actually play Ticket to Ride Germany without the passenger, or Ticket to Ride Märklin without the passengers. But in Germany, I think they actually came up with a fix that lets you keep that passenger mechanic, but do it in a slightly different way that doesn't bog down the game. So, when we open it up, obviously we've still got the classic art that you see in most versions of Ticket to Ride. I did do an unboxing of the game, and so I will have that link down in the description. You can go check that out. And with this, there are a couple of destinations where they are other countries. So like Austria or Österreich here. This one is a little different because it has two entrances into the same country. Others also have that. I believe for France, there are two completely different entrances. Yes, my infamously small work table. One of them, I swear, had two completely different... Oh, yeah, no, it's right here. So, you have Austria here, and then you have Austria over here. If you have a ticket that says to connect to Austria, you can actually use either of these locations. You don't have to use a specific one. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Otherwise, with the multiple entrances, you can use either of those. One thing that was actually a little bit more challenging in this version of the game is basically this section over here. It's a lot more compact. As you can see, there are a lot of double and even triple track sections. So, and there's also a lot of, well, when we played, the tickets to go to these cities came up relatively frequently as well. So it does add a bit more of a challenge, because everybody that played it did feel like it was a little bit more compact, and there was a lot more competition for the routes, and it was even easier to block people from being able to complete tickets. So I actually liked that. I think it gave it a little bit more of a challenge. Regular Ticket to Ride, I always felt, was a rather... Like, if you couldn't get there one way, it wasn't too difficult to get to a place from another route. So this one definitely had some more challenges being able to complete that. All right, so the passengers. Oh, actually, one other thing I will point out real quick. So you've got your tickets, and there are two types. As you can see, you've got the orange and the blue. And the orange, if you can see here, says that it's a long strecke. I don't know what strecke is. I know longa is long. And then you have kurz, which isn't showing up very well. Kurz, which is short. So I think it's a short stretch is what it's translating to. I'm not looking it up at the moment. But basically, you have the two types of tickets. So on your turn, when you are going to draw more tickets, then you can take any combination of 4 tickets between the two piles. Either too short, too long, 4 short, however you want to do it. But then the same rules apply. You have to keep at least one of the new tickets. So it's a little bit different, but it's not too big a deal. And then obviously there are point differences between short and long. Typically long are going to be worth more than 10 points, and short are going to be worth less than 10 points. So not a bad little mix. I definitely enjoyed it. It, again, makes you think a little bit differently about how you are going to select your tickets. And then the other change is, instead of the longest route, you have the Globetrotter. So you need to complete at least 3 tickets. Which, let me just double check. Oh, no, it's whoever's completed the most tickets. Sorry. So yeah, whoever's completed the most tickets gets the 15 points, as opposed to the longest route, who, you know, in other games. It is very important that you point that out in the beginning, because when we were playing, one of the players was trying for the longest route, and then at the end of the game, he didn't realize he didn't get any points for it. So that was, harsh thing to learn there towards the end. All right, so the passengers. All right, I do need to point this out because it is kind of important. In the instructions, you do have this map of Germany, and all of the cities have a number on it. So what that number represents is how many passengers you're going to put on the particular city. Most of them are just going to get 1, but you have 4, 3, Berlin has 5. So you do have differing numbers of passengers, and they just come in a bag. And so for this example, I'm not necessarily going to follow it perfectly, so don't use this as your guide towards setup. But let's say that Stuttgart needs 3 passengers, and so you're just going to randomly draw them out of the bag, and then we're going to put 1 in France, 1 in Switzerland, just because I want to. Let's put 2 in Freiburg, and 1 everywhere else. And I keep pulling out the black ones. There are 6 different colors. Red, blue, black, green, white, and yellow. Okay. And then basically the way that it works is when you complete a track, so say I completed Freiburg to Karlsruhe, then you can take a passenger from each end of the route that still has a passenger. So there's only 1 passenger at Karlsruhe, so I can take that. And then in Freiburg, I can take either the black or the yellow passenger. And I'm just going to take these and I'm going to set them in front of me. And they just sit there for the rest of the game. You're not going to use them any other time. So if there's no passenger there, you don't get one when you claim a route. But again, you just keep claiming them until the end of the game. So, once the game ends, the main difference with the passengers is whoever has the most of a particular color is going to get 20 points. So with 6 different colors of passengers, that's an additional 120 points that you can earn at the end of the game. If you have the second most amount of passengers, you're going to get 10 points. So it's an additional 60 points. You can only win one of the bonus awards. Okay. It is also very difficult to get all of them. So keep that in mind. But this is also kind of interesting because it does make you do additional things. Maybe you're going to take a route to get some passengers, even though it's not part of the ticket that you're trying to complete. But it's a lot of points at the end of the game. So just something to keep in mind. But it is it's a very easy to remember system. There's not a lot of complexity that just makes it difficult to remember, hard to use. Like I said, the passenger train cards in Märklin it wasn't necessarily hard, but it was just frustrating to try and use. So we never did. It was fine without them. But I like this. I like this addition to Ticket to Ride Germany. So I'm absolutely a fan. So overall, Ticket to Ride Germany, I highly recommend. It was this copy was actually a gift for my parents. My dad spent some time in Germany in the '60s and even lived there after my parents got married. So this one was fun to play with my parents, even because you could see them, reacting and remembering the different places that they lived and visited, things like that. So hats off to Days of Wonder for this version of Ticket to Ride. I do like the changes. I think it's a nice variant. As I said, it is to me a little bit more challenging, just in the way that it is more compact and a little more difficult to get your routes complete. But overall, very, very fun version. Highly recommend it if you want something other than just plain normal Ticket to Ride. So with that said, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Have you played this version? Do you prefer Märklin over this one? I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. But regardless, I do appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time.